Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I am once again going back to my old favourites of my favourite flower dies. These were purchased from AliExpress and I will try and link them below if they're still available. I'm also going to use this stamp set, this happy stamp set, and I am going to use some 110 Nina Solar White for my card base and some 80 Nina Solar White for my card front. So I'm just going to use the smallest and the medium flower, and I want the sentiment to say, you make me happy, up in the top right hand corner. And so I'm just using a little bit of post-it note tape to stick down these two flowers. I'm deciding sort of how I want the leaves, where I want the leaves, and actually the project didn't quite go as I thought it would. It ended up being a lot more straightforward and simpler than I thought it would, but I still really like the simplicity of the card, and I had fun, which is the main thing. So I have run those through my Cuttlebug, and then I'm deciding if I want to use the medium flower again, and it does just fit, but for the technique that I'm after, it's just going to make it too tricky. So I end up running through the smallest flower again down the bottom. Then I'm going to use my Misty to stamp the You Make Me Happy. And again, this is a nice simple card, so I'm just going to stamp it in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I end up stamping it a couple of times, I think, just to make it nice and dark and, yeah, look good. So here's where I was having the fun. I was wondering about doing this. I'm taking my Nouveau crystal drops. So these are the opaque ones that are just, they don't have glitter or anything. And this is all in real time. So this is just, you can see I'm just doing a really quick job of putting lots of little dots. This is the light greenish color. And then I've just zoomed in a little bit, and all I'm doing is filling in the gaps with a darker green. So I did the same thing with several colors, and I'm just doing it quick. I'm not being super careful. There's no rhyme or pattern to these. I did try it kind of doing circles and doing a pattern, but I found I didn't really mind which way it looked, and this way was easier. So just put them down on a piece of paper and then wait a couple of hours for them to dry. I think they dry a lot faster than that, but that was just the time that I had in between. Then I am using some ink. I think these are my Distress Oxide inks, just because that's what's on my table. And I'm just using a really light bit of ink to go behind the Nouveau drops. I wasn't going to do this, but I felt like the card just needed a little bit more colour than what the Nouveau drops were giving it. And the drops kind of give it the texture and kind of a little bit of colour. But yeah, I just put an extremely light layer of ink behind the Nouveau drops. So in some cases I didn't even re-ink my mini Distress ink tool. I just used what was on it. But yeah, for this one I went a little bit darker, and then I don't actually end up using this one in the end, but it's too dark for what I wanted for the card. So you can see I've got a yellow and a white one off to the left of the screen, and then a purple and a pink one there at the top of this screen. And I'm going to cut out these little Nouveau drop pieces and place them behind each one of the openings. This is where I had fun going a little bit crazy. These are the foam squares from AliExpress, which I will also try and link down below. And rather than using foam tape, I decided to use these foam squares, just because it was easier to go around the flowers, really. So I am putting these everywhere, and I mean everywhere. I end up covering the whole back panel of these, which I'll just speed through so that you don't have to wait and see the whole lot. Some of them I ended up cutting in half so that they would fit in little spaces better. And others I just kept as their square. I think these are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter square foam with adhesive on the back. So now I'm just seeing which color I want to put where, and so I've got 2 yellow and white panels and then one of the light pink and purple panel. So you can see from the back it looks like an ugly mess. It looks pretty bad, but from the front, you'll never tell. And again, I did find it was really hard to catch on camera sort of the effect that the Nuvo drops were giving. This card looks really simple on camera, however in real life I really like it, and it just looks like a lovely clean card. So but yeah, it's really hard to sort of pick up on camera the what it looks like. Anyhow, I am just sorry I hadn't figured out to zoom out yet. But yeah, so I use the sort of light pink and purple one for the larger flower, and just adding a little bit of Ranger Multi-Matte Medium to the back of those panels because obviously they don't have any stick, and then the foam squares will stick the rest of it down. I'm adding this to a card base, 110 pound Nina Solar White card base, and then the very finishing touch that I'm going to do is add some large and some medium silver sequins to the center of the flowers. And that was pretty much all I did for this card. I really enjoyed it. I played around with adding other bits and pieces to the front, but it just looked too much, so I really enjoyed the simplicity. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.